Happy astrological period, Taurus. This is Will from Will's Cartomancy Tarot. What I'd like to do for you this afternoon is to just give you a general reading in a variety of areas. And this evening, I'm going to be using Svetlana Touchkov's card, the Gypsy cards. And to save down on some time, I've already shuffled the deck and illustrated your reading as presented here. Okay? So with that said, let's go on and get right into your reading, okay? Now, the first picture that comes up in this reading is, as you see here, is the road, okay? So, Taurus, the road symbolizes your path in life. The road ahead may be smooth, indicating, there are no major problems in your life at this time. And for those kind of wishing to travel, this is one of the best cards to get. Since this card falls, in position one, it says that your life is going great now. Your work, home, recreation, and spiritual life all seem in sync, and you seem to be on the right path. And this picture is kind of suggesting that if you are kind of wondering whether you should travel at this time or not, this picture definitely tells you that it is a good time to plan a trip. So a trip might be an offering for you guys. Okay, let's move right along and look at your next picture here. We also have the book. Okay. And now this book falls in position 4. So, Taurus, the book has always been associated with knowledge. It is not only having the book, really, per se, but also kind of being able to kind of read it that really gives us power or give the power to the owner. So, with this card kind of falling in position 4, the book kind of tells you that your talkativeness is going to bring you some type of harm. For example, a defendant, may lose the case not because he's wrong, but because he doesn't know when he has presented the relevant facts and kind of continues with, immaterial details that kind of confuse the jury. So people can have good arguments, but when they go on, the listener kind of gets bored and tunes out. So this card kind of asks you to kind of stop and listen to yourself. Are you really contributing to the conversation, or are you just letting your vocal cords run wild? Are you disclosing information that was confided to you and kind of will hurt or embarrass another person? Are you letting out your ideas prematurely, Taurus, so that they can be used by another before you're ready to kind of use them yourself? Many people, Taurus, have been deterred from success by kind of talking prematurely about their ideas and kind of meeting negative responses. So remember, Taurus, we are given 2 ears and 1 mouth, So do twice as much as listening as talking. This is what this card is kind of suggesting to you. Let's move right along and examine the next picture that falls here. It shows we have the moon card, okay? So the moon, like the sun, Taurus, has been kind of worshipped by many cultures. So the sun is the overt radiator of energy, while the moon is more so the covert, hidden reflection of energy. So the sun is the yang, the male force, while the moon is the yin, the female force. So as this card falls in position 2, it says that, if you are patient, Taurus, you're going to attain that which you desire. Because this is hard for some people to do, to kind of just relax in the heat of battle. So still, even the best soldier sometimes needs to kind of bide his time between battles, Taurus. So sometimes you kind of need to wait and let others do things, or kind of come to conclusions on their own that will be beneficial to you in the end. So what this card is saying that, many of your wishes might take longer to accomplish than what you might think. This picture is kind of telling you to kind of relax or kind of be patient and keep working towards your desires because you're gonna eventually accomplish them. Okay, let's move right along and examine the next card that we have here in your reading. We have the bird card here. Okay, so Taurus, the bird suggests freedom of flight. They have no worries or cares to really hold them down. So a bird is free to soar to heights that we really cannot obtain by ourselves. So, it can kind of fly and enjoy itself. A bird can usually look down from above at the world below us. But for us, it is just as important to kind of let go and kind of be like the bird. You know, we need to kind of fly smoothly, or you need to, fly smoothly and easily in the air. You know, so therefore, with this card, falling in position one, it kind of denotes, merriment, happiness, or celebration, or in good times. It refers to present circumstances, or one of a short duration, it appears. I feel that it could be an achievement of some sort, a promotion, or perhaps a new job or an apartment that you get. Or simply it could be a reunion with friends, Taurus, that makes you very happy. Because as two birds are kind of shown in this card here, you know, it is a good time to kind of spend time with friends. And I'm feeling that any social activity is going to run smoothly with everyone having a good time. So the point is, Taurus, do something special so that the good times can be remembered. Okay? Taurus, let's move right along and look at your next card here. And we have the ring card. And I'm going to have to do a little flipping around here because sometimes the cards they connect with other cards, so you just have to flip it around to make another picture. So I'm going to just flip this one around because your next image that I'm seeing in your reading is the ring. So I'm going to flip this around here, and you see it makes another picture. So it's the ring card. So Taurus, the ring is a symbol, of the commitment of two people, to a lasting relationship. Taurus, it can either be a traditional marriage or maybe one of many new forms of relationships that are occurring today. So, in any case, Taurus, it symbolizes the union of two people, in one entity. This does not mean that each person loses his or her own personality or identity. Taurus. Instead, by each kind of retaining their own selves, they form a new union that appears to be strong than, that of kind of two separate beings. So, Taurus, since this card falls in position three, this shows an interruption or relations between lovers or friends. There appears to be problems in your relationship with perhaps a cessation, it seems, of intimacy. And I'm feeling that, there are problems that must be resolved if you kind of want to regain the intimacy you once had. Rather than kind of sleepwalking, Taurus, you have to kind of look at the actions of your partner and yourself to kind of determine what is really going on. Because sometimes people get so dependent on the union of the two that they so often forget who they were before and stop doing the things that really kind of made them attracted to the other person in the first place. So it's easy for women to kind of get so absorbed in the roles of mother and housewives that they kind of forget to also be the enticing being they were before the children came. Okay? And I'm kind of feeling, simultaneously, it is kind of hard for women to kind of reconcile the image of the knight, really in shining armor, whom they married. With the couch potato, who is perhaps watching the football game on TV. So, Taurus, this picture doesn't really tell you to abandon your present interests and concerns, but it does remind you not to kind of forget those aspects of your life that kind of made you attracted to each other in the first place. So you cannot change your mate, but you can certainly work on yourself so that you can kind of rekindle your relationship, if it really is a worthwhile one or a worthwhile cause for you. Okay. Let's move right along and examine your next picture here. We have the letter here. Okay, that's card 27, and that's in position 4. So, one thing about this Taurus is that ever since human learned to write and read, the letter has always kind of been a means of kind of spreading information and kind of delivering news. So thus, I feel that the letter indicates some type of news that you're going to be receiving, and since it appears in position 4, this would indicate that you're going to receive, it looks like, sad news. This news can be regarding your own interests, or it could possibly be relating to someone that you know well. Okay? Let's move right along and just examine your next picture here that falls in the spread. Okay? We have the pig card that falls here. And I'm going to have to do some turning around again. Okay? So we have the pig card, as we make a picture here. So Taurus, the pig is usually a symbol of prosperity. So in the past, it was the rich farmer who kind of had pigs, and you know, owning pigs kind of guaranteed a steady supply of food back in the day, you guys. So on the negative side, the pig kind of symbolizes greed and avarice, but this picture suggests material wealth, plenty to eat, contentment, and really earthly pleasures, and a life free of strife and worry. So this card, since it falls in position two, it kind of denotes purely an earthly happiness, you guys. So this picture tells you to kind of enjoy earthly pleasures. This can be your house, parties, family gatherings, relationships, or perhaps material possessions. So if you have, Taurus, purchase a new car or anything else, then enjoy it for the pleasure it gives you. This card can also refer to the pleasures of a sexual relationship. Taurus, too often we let guilt feelings interfere with the sensations of pleasure. So this picture therefore tells you to kind of enjoy what you have at the moment. Okay? Let's move right along and look at your next picture that falls in this reading. We have the heart card. Okay? So, Taurus, the heart has also been a symbol of love for thousands of years. In recent times, Taurus, with all the publicities that heart transplants, have received, we have known the heart as to represent life itself. It's a wonderful blending of these meanings, to say that by loving, we give life to our lives. But love is more than that of a man and a woman, Taurus, or what, or what have you. It can also be the love for our parents, children, country, work, or anything that really deeply touches our feelings, which we call the heart. So it is always sad to see people, Taurus, searching for love, the romantic kind, and simultaneously ignoring the love extended by them by their friends, their families, and their children. So this picture gives guidance to the emotions that we say come from the heart, okay? So since this picture falls in position 3, it says that no matter what problems you encounter in life, joy and merriment will never leave you. And this picture often appears when a person is kind of having problems and everything perhaps may look bleak in some sense. What this picture is to you, for you guys, is it's a gentle reminder that the problems are going to pass, or that they aren't, as serious as you may think them to be. It kind of reminds you to kind of look at your whole life, to really look at the joys that you do have rather than to get depressed over one problem, because love and merriment are all around us, and we only have to kind of open our eyes and hearts to see it, And if you are, in fact, having problems in your love life, Taurus, which I feel that you are, because it seems that there's an absence of sex or intimacy in your relationship, keep in mind that love isn't a potato. You can't throw it out of the window. And when you love someone, Taurus, you are vulnerable to pain, whether it is inflicted intentionally or not. Because Taurus, only in fairy tales do people really live happily ever after. As an adult, Taurus, you have to deal with pain, so you can't simply throw it away as you would a spoiled potato. So if you look at the comical side of your problems, they really won't seem as big as you think them to be. Okay, let's move right along and examine your next cards that appears. Actually, I didn't post it, so I'm going to just show it here. Actually, your next image that kind of came up in your reading is the bread. Okay, so here is that image for you. Okay, there it is. All right, the bread. Okay. So, Taurus, bread is a staff of life. It's the cultivation of grain that, has led really to the formulation of a stable society. So, Taurus, bread kind of implies stability, prosperity, generosity, and nourishment. And Taurus, Christ was able to kind of feed a multitude of people with a few loaves of bread. So when you receive this picture, it kind of means that your life and home are lucky. You are prosperous and content. And since this picture kind of falls in position 1, it says that you're going to be made happy with a present if you haven't already received it. This picture often comes up before what I'm seeing birthdays or other celebrations that we tend to observe by giving presents. it applies that you're going to receive a present that you're going to enjoy. And Taurus, a present doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive one now. Rather, it is something that you're going to truly like. And I feel that it may also come as a total surprise to you, making you unexpectedly happy. So if you haven't received this present, you're going to receive it very soon. So this card is saying accept the present graciously, even though you might worry about whether the person could, really afford it. The present is kind of given from the heart, and you make the giver happy, Taurus, by kind of accepting it. You know, because just to follow the lines of an old proverb, when you're given, take it, and when you are beaten, run. So let's get right along and just summarize your reading, through the last card here. And the key with using these cards, you have to use your last card as a summary. And I had to use this card because it formulated a picture. So this is fairly pretty much the summary of how things are going to happen for you. So you have the horse, okay? Number 39, okay? So Taurus, a horse is a very powerful animal. From earliest time, Taurus, humans have kind of admired the intelligence, sensible, noble, and proud horse. The horse has kind of evolved as a powerful symbol of enlightenment and extermination of evil forces. So it therefore stands for our emotions, Taurus. So falling in position 1, this card therefore says that you're going to experience it looks like a vivid or traumatic life event. This can either be good or bad. I've kind of seen this card appear for those going through a divorce or even getting married or perhaps getting fired or even having a baby or etc. The vivid experience could be meeting or hearing an inspiring message from a person who could kind of change your outlook. It could potentially, Taurus, refer to outside events in the political, economic, or even environmental spheres that we kind of react to emotionally. Okay? Let's move right along and look at your next card to summarize here. We also have the dagger card here, which is card 49 in this image right here. Okay? So Taurus, really, a dagger is really a short, sharp weapon kind of worn by knights and courtiers of old. Some hide it, while others kind of wore it on their belts. So this card therefore symbolizes pain that it looks like it can be inflicted on you by someone at any moment. It may be a physical nature, or it may be a wound to your pride or your self-esteem, vanity, or perhaps your heart. So since it falls in position 1, it says that you are actually protected from this. So this card is therefore saying that someone looks like is trying to hurt you, but because you will be protected in time, you might not even know of the threat. Police, firefighters, administrators, and government inspectors, are always working, providing protection to our societies against many hidden dangers that we are so often unaware of. It could possibly be criminals or contaminated food or dangerous facilities. So make sure you kind of listen to the radio and television news, and read the newspaper so that you are aware of warnings given to the public. Pay attention to these warnings, Taurus, as they are kind of meant to kind of protect you. So this card might also refer to kind of people also, Taurus, wishing to hurt your reputation. Someone might be saying things behind your back, but another is kind of standing up for you, kind of defending your honor and actions. So you may be totally unaware of the conversations, Taurus. So try to make sure that your actions are therefore circumspect, and little harm is going to come your way. Okay? Let's look at the next card that is also here to summarize. Okay, we have card number 38 here, which is the lady. Okay? So Taurus, the lady in this card, it symbolizes, a female force or a feminine force that kind of gives you help or insight. She means down to earth practical support. She could be your mother, your mother-in-law, your grandmother, your friend, co-worker, anyone who is really close enough to kind of help you. And with this card being in position 1, Taurus, this card says that a female who is close to you is going to extend help in your time of need. Sometimes the help could potentially kind of come from someone you don't even expect to help at all. even a complete stranger who is there when you need him or her. Well, actually, it's going to be her. Um, for example, I'm kind of feeling that you might be going through a difficult time in your life and be too embarrassed, it seems, to kind of talk to anyone close. You know, when a social acquaintance kind of might sense your hurt and kind of give you the support that you need. Or it might be that a family member whom you are not even close to is going to come to your aid during a family crisis. So somehow these people know that you need help and they are there for you, Taurus. And they're unquestioning and they're uncritical. So just know that support is going to be available for you to kind of get you through this hard time that it looks like you're going to be going through. So, Taurus, this is what I have for you. I certainly hope this reading resonated with you. I do understand that for some of you it may not, but I certainly look forward to hearing your comments. And I will be putting up a variety of other interesting readings for you guys throughout your astrological period. And certainly, if someone is interested in having a more personal reading with me, you can certainly email me at WAT61073@gmail.com. And I certainly thank you for your time and enjoy your evening. I look forward to hearing your comments. Thanks a lot.